Okay, thank you so much, everybody. I just want to start off by saying thank you so much to our classmates. Those were just absolutely fantastic presentations. And also just want to say, thank you to Josh. I think in some ways echoing you, this has been, I don't know if I'm speaking on behalf of my group as well or my classmates, but it's been the highlight of my every Monday night. It's just been a great experience to, I think as you were saying, to indulge in classics, to have this kind of case, this kind of practical opportunity. And so really excited about, I think, ultimately the conversation that we're having tonight. And I think the most exciting thing that we've already seen is just the diversity of perspectives, all the different voices that we're bringing together just within this very room. And it's exciting to think on, a campus of however many thousand people, students, teachers, faculty, outside London. Just how many voices and what kind of culture we can create together. And that is the conversation of tonight as well. It's not just the McIntosh Gallery, not just about Western University or the University of Western Ontario. It's about culture. And I think culture is pretty exciting. There's so many different definitions. I might have a bacterial culture down on my microscope lens. I might have the entire human race, the entire human culture. I might have a culture of a particular group, particular class, our class. And all those things, again, it's that diversity that I think kind of brings us back. It's the possibilities, the opportunities, and the challenges. And so one of the other challenges we face is just this idea of placing culture. How do we cite it? What form does it take? Is it the arts? Is it literature? What other aspect of the humanities might be? Is it math? Is it science? And for us tonight, again, we have a case. And that's the McIntosh Gallery here at the University of Western Ontario. We're excited, I think, to talk about, again, this idea of all the voices that we have, this interplay that we have, but also thinking about time. Time, past, present, and future. What's happening for us? Not here just as idealistic students with you up at the front of the room, but what's happening for? What's happening now? What's happening with Mr. Patten and his curation? What's happening with the Dean of the Arts and Humanities? We're going to hear from him tonight on our video. It's going to be great. But before that, we have a very interesting medium to show you. That's actually a website that we created, and we're really excited to show it to you. So we're going to start scrolling. So first up, McIntosh at UWO, Western's resident art gallery and exhibition space. Right down below, we have various voices for you to hear from. We actually have interviews with students from across Western. We have an interview with Dr. Michael Milde, the Arts and Humanities faculty. We also have an interview with James Patten. That one's not in video, but it's in text. We also have a link that you can click for Mr. Runbeck. Also taking a look here at the history. So the galleries have a long, illustrious history since 1942. Click here to learn more. Have an overview. So there's a variety of different exhibitions and artwork that are available for, of course, reviewing at the gallery. And last, we'd like to talk to you tonight about our actions, our action plan, what we can do to help move the gallery move forward. And I just want to quickly move over to our first video here, fellow students at Western University.
Okay, what do you know about the McIntosh Gallery?
Well, you can hear it. Not much. I know that there are different exhibits every so often, and it's free admission. But I've never actually gone.
I know it's art gallery. It has a red door.
Gotcha.
I went to an opening, professor's book opening once there, but other than that, I don't know actually at all.
Not too much. Not too much. It's there. It's very finance side. It's different. I don't know, statues, stuff like that. Not very little, but
There's art.
You mentioned the red doors. What do you think about the red doors? That's how I know it. I know, I walk by it. I've been it a few years.
Yeah.
And I know it's there. And I know it's an art gallery. And I know it has the red doors. So I think it's cool. It's kind of like a way to identify it.
Do you think it's inviting to students? The way it looks?
I think it's intriguing. So I think that's about it. Yeah, but I feel like we move like free and like it's like if we kind of like goes to what it's about and it's like that friendship was like more, accessible to us no matter what. Like 100% I don't know like this is nice.
Do you think the gallery seems inviting to students?
No more or less inviting than anything else on campus.
I'm never sure when it's open or if it is open to the public because the doors are always closed. There's not really any advertisements.
I think it's a little daunting. I know when I walked in, there was an older crowd and not a lot of students, so I don't know if people like me, but
that the fact that art from all over the world and from different cultures are at the McIntosh Gallery really expands our campus to encompass different aspects of the world that we might not be able to see from like a lecture or from some of the showcases we have here.
Do you think our culture is important on campus?
No.
It definitely is.
Why?
Yes, of course, it's exceptional.
Brings life to our campus. Shows that we're a very diverse student body. I think that also.
Celebrates the artistic achievements of some great local and national and international artists.
So that was pretty interesting. Just voices again from students across Western. Also in that section we had an interview with the dean. We're going to proceed sort of directly to our action plan, and we're excited to share that with you. Again, there's a lot of themes from tonight. There's physical and digital. You were 12 minutes long. You had a lot to say. It was fantastic. we have a lot of different voices here tonight, and I think ultimately we've had a lot of different themes that we've bridged. It's been physical and digital. It's been discipline to discipline, and also university to community. So we're excited to share some of those actions with you.
Clicker. Does it work?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to run through the action plan now. Before we begin, I was able to sit down with James Patten to discuss the current state of affairs at McIntosh Gallery. And after sitting down and looking over that interview, my team and I have identified 4 key areas of focus that we believe the gallery should look at in order for future growth and development to occur in the next little bit. In particular, we believe at McIntosh Gallery, these 4 areas begin with making the artwork firstly more accessible, to better integrate the entire institution into the campus community, to continue to cater to the student demographic, and finally, to continue to engage in collaborative, and the keyword here is interdisciplinary programming on campus and beyond. So my partner Peter and I are now going to run through our team's creative recommendations and ideas in order to address these 4 key areas. Am I doing this right? Okay. So here are our pieces that I just mentioned. So to begin, increasing accessibility, and in order to better integrate into the campus environment, we think it is extremely important that McIntosh Gallery makes their artwork as accessible as possible so that it's showcased, shared, and displayed for everyone to see. So despite a lack of funding and resources such as maybe physical space, staffing, monetary funds, you name it, while these restrictions do exist, we think it's important that McIntosh looks for more innovative and creative solutions in order to get the artwork out of the vault storage space at Althouse and into the public view. Therefore, we believe that a significant opportunity exists in the form of a satellite gallery and a temporary satellite gallery at that. This means partnering with other buildings at campus to showcase art in temporary time frames so that the art actually gets to come out and be visited and enjoyed by students. So a prime example of one of these buildings would actually be the John Labatt Visual Arts Center, which we believe is the perfect backdrop for getting the art out into the campus community. If the gallery does choose to engage in this temporary sort of satellite gallery, McIntosh Gallery can actually put together and carefully curate its own exhibition to cater to these students. Moving forward in the future, the possibilities are truly endless. We can go to the Ivy Building, the Law Building, Engineering Building, and look at different collections that cater exactly to those students. So right there and then, we are actually getting the art accessible, we are making the art actually part of the university environment, and it's by nature interdisciplinary by cycling around different arts through the different buildings. So in the same spirit of that, making the art accessible and integrating into the campus community, we also think that an opportunity exists as a virtual online gallery. And so the main idea behind a virtual gallery is to create an interactive web page of both videos and photographs that actually fully highlight and display the artwork that's currently in storage. So it would be an extension of McIntosh's current website, so not too much infrastructure needed there. And because it is virtual in nature, McIntosh Gallery can actually design and carefully put together this gallery in a multitude of ways. So one example we were thinking is actually having virtual exhibitions come out every so often, whether that's monthly, seasonally, whatever the case may be, so that new art is always being released and added onto the site. And because it is online, we are also enabled to add archives, artist statements, artist history, history of the work, you name it, in order to facilitate an actual learning and educational experience. So, combining the satellite temporary galleries that are always moving around and the virtual gallery that is actually able to be accessed at all times, on campus, off campus, here in Canada, around the world, we believe that this is the perfect medium for getting the art out accessibly and connecting with the campus audience and moving on to our second point, focusing on students. And this would mean actually increasing student attendance and bringing them into the gallery. So one way we think we can do this is actually taking advantage of Western programming for students that are already in existence. They would allow us to reach out and actually educate students about what the gallery has to offer. So I know it's already been mentioned, but the orientation week is truly what we think is the gold standard here. And so if we can get McIntosh Gallery to continue to plan fun and unique events as a part of orientation week, we believe that this can be extremely successful. So last year, McIntosh Gallery actually had a hashtag Red Doors photo booth, in which students were invited to come, take their photo in front of the iconic red doors, as this group has already laid out for us, and actually see their photos on Instagram or Twitter, whatever the case may be. So we believe events of these nature are extremely successful because they connect with the incoming first-year students. But what's even more important is that the soft teams and the upper year students who are also part of those orientation coordinations will also see the red doors. So moving forward, we believe that the McIntosh Gallery should continue these events, but take a step further and actually partner with different soft teams to host events that bring students physically into the gallery. So one suggestion our team had was to use the space at night to host an interactive evening of programming. Because there are some students who come to their orientation week and do not want to go to a big dance and a concert, but would actually prefer a more low-key and intimate event. So that's where this space could come in. And beyond orientation week, we think McIntosh Gallery should really take advantage of these soft team systems, connect primarily with the Arts and Humanities soft team, but also reach out to other faculty, affiliate college, residents. The possibilities are endless in order to promote a grand exhibition opening. So our teammate Meryl, over here in the red, she plays an executive role in coordinating O-Week events, and she was actually able to sit down and talk to the incoming and outcoming head soft for the Arts and Humanities team to discuss such a partnership. And the response was great. They would love to actually partner with us to open some sort of grand exhibition opening of that kind, and even suggested using the space throughout the year for more wine and cheese, as we all know we love, art viewing, professor meet and greets, you name it. So to conclude that point, by using the actual programming geared at students that are already in place and using the intricate system of soft teams that we've all been through, we think that McIntosh Gallery can really hone in on this student demographic. So now I'm going to pass it on to Peter, who's going to run through the remainder of our recommendations.
Okay. So when we think of the Red Doors, we want to think about it as a recognizable brand. So normally, because we've been accustomed to the Red Doors, we think bold, bright, and innovative. But the main reason we may think of this is because we're already subjected to the gallery itself. After interviewing several members of the Western community, we found that the doors actually have this church-like intimidating status where they feel threatened to go in. So we suggest having an open brand of the Red Doors. So our first example is the social media contest. So as Alexander already pointed out, we already have Western's O-Week photo shoots to promote the Red Doors. But the one thing about that is, looking online, only one student actually retweeted themselves at the Red Doors, and they were a doctorate candidate. So in terms of the undergrad population, that's not something that can be reached out all that well. What we are looking towards is an incentive towards the undergrad and continuing undergrad community to have this joyous, almost fun experience with the Red Doors, have this connotation of fun. So we suggest having an open photo shoot again, but offering an incentive for a fun, joyous photo to potentially win a $50 gift certificate or a piece of art or any opportunity that can be presented. Let the Frosh decide for themselves that the Red Doors are open for everyone. But another point, and I'm speaking from experience, is I have taken my own photo shoots outside of the O-Week in front of the Red Doors. I didn't go in, but I've been here for 5 years, and I thought those doors themselves were intimidating. But the one thing that we've already mentioned on is that those doors do entice curiosity, and we'd really like to peek on that. So what we propose is a series of posters where the red door is encompassing 100% of the poster itself with the simple tag, "Ever wonder what's inside?" And underneath having all the Facebook, all the social media, the hours, everything outlined. So we have all of these undergrad students thinking, well, what is this? It's maybe not such a bad place. And all the continuing students just saying, I've never been here before, why is that? So we like to change this impression from the Red Doors to being this negative stop connotation to red is the new green, let's go right in. So another point we like to talk about is social media. It's no secret that social media is impacting the way our society is living today. And even so, the way we communicate. Information not only travels faster, but it's online, but even faster than word of mouth. So as a result, what's being said on the internet and the social networks have more of a leeway than actual recommendations. So what we're proposing is almost, to kind of quote this class, a mob mentality of the social media department at the McIntosh Gallery. Kind of, we like it, why don't you like it? So after an interview with Lucas Krabal, the communications and outreach coordinator at the gallery, we thought that he is doing an excellent job at managing the Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages at the gallery. However, we've decided a few more things as students that we've discovered that they can improve on. The first point is subscribers and likes. Likes get you only a small percentage of content on a specific page. However, subscribers themselves get to access all the content. So if you have all these events that are bombarded in one day, the subscribers get to see them all, whereas a simple like don't get to see as many because it's not their regular feed. It's not something that they subscribe to see every day. So we encourage the McIntosh Gallery to add subscriptions or entice subscriptions to the Facebook page to really bring up the fact that they get to see everything. Another point, as we've mentioned, is art is an interaction. We want to be able to look at a piece of art and we want to be able to say, how do you feel about that? Did that make your day a little brighter, or did it really freak you out? That's something that we really, really want to touch about the Facebook page and Instagram pages, is the opportunity for the masses to have a conversation, whether positive or negative. That's the exact point of art and how art is created and filtered throughout society and culture. So what we'd like to see is adding permissions on the Facebook page to allow for these conversations to start. So, for example, the Royal Ontario Museum or the Art Gallery of Ontario have these constant conversations throughout all these pages. So as previously mentioned, you can have all of these different posts and have all of these conversations on one page. So for example, I'm going to have to read it here, is one lady on the Royal Ontario Museum's page wrote that she loved the place since she was a preschooler, and it just keeps getting better and better. Something that we definitely want to see as a positive connotation and some way online, which is becoming a greater source of communication within our social realm, to be available for everyone. So one final recommendation is to increase the number of followers and hashtags. As it may seem redundant, it's becoming more and more important within today's social media society, because the more followers that you have, the more pages and the more spread out that your culture or online culture will become. So for example, if a specific page likes many different pages, there's more of a chance that when someone likes that different page, they see the association with the McIntosh Gallery. They see, Museum London currently is followed by and currently likes McIntosh Gallery. That way, through social media, shared interests of art or culture are shared online. So let's help turn Western into a trending topic. Finally, we have the communications and promotions, which talks mostly about the physical aspect of the gallery. So, as was mentioned before, we are busy. And I believe it was Sam Kilgore, the events coordinator, he mentioned that we go through a day-by-day basis. We kind of put these blinds on, and all we see is what we want to see within our Western day. But sometimes we do see those red doors. But what do those red doors actually mean to us? We want to make sure that when people see the red door, when they see the Mac Gallery, they're not quickly associated with red door, scary building. We want to bombard them with information. We want to have that connotation of red door, here's the information. So for example, the rear of the McIntosh Gallery is facing one of the most populated areas of Western, Natside, the Natside bus stop. So if we have the McIntosh Gallery, a vinyl banner, for example, directing students towards the front of the gallery saying, can you spare a minute of, well, not that kind of petty, but have a minute of your time, or if you're waiting for the bus, here's what's just around the corner. If you're waiting, we have a world of opportunity literally just around the corner. Also, to direct them to the front of the gallery, and for those people rushing by, we like to have a banner or a communication or a modifiable board that is very similar to the USC events pages or the Western film bulletins at the top of the hill. So for example, you'll see new at Western Film, film, The Lion King. I don't know why. But you'll see, someone posted Lion King today, it was weird. But the whole point is you want to see that Western events are associated with the McIntosh Gallery. You want to see, you have a Western film as a key candidate for events at Western. You have USC events such as No One Really Went but Little John, or Everyone Went, City in Color. We want to have that same connotation with the Mac Gallery saying, walking by, event, this day, giving the hours and advertising that it's open. Another point is the path that's surrounding the McIntosh Gallery is surrounded by lovely sculptures and multiple artwork. But as we've talked about in class and James mentioned, is not many of our students and not many of the Western populace actually know that it's connected to the McIntosh Gallery or the origins of this art itself. What we propose is events or galas or just outdoor exhibits near these structures, kind of bringing the fact together that this small enclosed area that is in the heart of Western, the heart of visual arts at Western is just around the corner. So if art has the power to empower an individual, it's through the way they interact with it. Our goal is directing the student to the gallery so they get to share that experience. So may I direct you now back to Jackson for our conclusion.
Thank you so much. If that didn't make the case for culture, I don't know what could. But thank you so much, Peter and Alex. Ultimately, I mean, this has just been a great experience to be able to have this conversation. We're looking forward, I think, not what's just going to come out of these presentations, but to the judges, I mean, what you can continue to do over the years with different students from Western. Josh, what you continue to do with this class, and I think for myself, for our group, for all our classmates, what we can continue to do to engage the students. I think beyond Western, I mean, there's so many opportunities to engage in our community and in the culture, and it's not just a one-day thing, it's not just a 20-minute experience. And ultimately, we hope that's what you take away from this presentation, is that we're engaged, we continue to do that, and that leadership in the arts, it's something we've talked about in class, but it's not just for art's sake, it's for everyone's sake. And so we're excited for that and for this continued conversation. Thank you.
Right there, actually, I was going to say you guys are very good and mindful of your time, but I'm wondering if you could pick maybe 2 minutes where we could hear a little bit from Professor Milde about
Absolutely.
Gallery.
Must we?
Yes.
Okay. What do you know about the Mac?
Can you please state your name and position for us, please?
My name is Milde. I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Humanities, also a philosophy professor by background.
Okay, so the first question that we have for you today, what do you personally associate with culture and how important is it for you and how does it determine your life?
So, not to get too flip about it, but culture is my life. Literature, art, music, these are all things that I do all the time.
Okay. Do you think institutions such as the University of Western Ontario's McIntosh Gallery serve as a significant mediator of culture? If so, why?
Absolutely. It's a venue where people can interact with artworks directly. We're all rather too familiar with virtual items, and that's great, but getting sort of face-to-face with these things is quite a different experience and makes us appreciate them in a completely different way. Now, I don't know if you want to pan this, but look at my office, right? It's a different piece of having artworks in your office than it is sort of seeing them online, right?
Okay. And have you been to McIntosh Gallery already? If so, how many times have you been? Do you go frequently?
I've been there once, twice, 100 times. I've been there a lot.
Okay. And why would you say you like to visit McIntosh Gallery?
I love to see the exhibitions that they have. I try to catch them when they change them, and I'm often there on official functions as well. But it's easy. It's on campus. Just walk up there, 10-15 minutes. You get a nice burst. It's like an espresso cup of art and culture.
So you would say, just to sum it up, your visit's purpose is more of a personal interest, also has to do with academic purposes.
Mostly personal interest. Yeah, I'm a philosophy guy, so
yeah. Okay. What single word would you use to describe your past experience with the McIntosh Gallery, and why would you use this word?
enriching. And I think that, for the reasons that I mentioned earlier, I think that the opportunity to interact with culture in a very direct way, in a changing way, in a way that's curated, in a way that brings you in and gives you additional knowledge. Fantastic.
What do you think are going to be the gallery's main challenges?
The main challenge for the future is actually just attracting people in. I think once you've established your relationship with McIntosh, as I have, then you're just drawn in because it is an exciting piece of culture, it's an exciting piece of innovation, knowledge, creation. You're just drawn in. But you have to get people in and you have to get them to appreciate what's available to them. And once you've succeeded in that, well, then I think it sells itself.
That's good. That's great.
Thank you very much. That's a great ending. Any challenges ahead?
Questions for
No.
I guess it's not really a question. I really like the website. I was gonna say, like, when I went on McIntosh Gallery's webpage, the current one, I remember seeing there was no link to YouTube. And when I did a YouTube search, I found 4 videos, which were all really good. I watched one, I really liked it. But I was surprised that in 4 years or 3 years, that only 4 videos were posted. And I loved how you guys did this like interactive piece with students and, you know, going to actual faculty. And I feel like McIntosh Gallery should do more of those. So I would watch them. Or even the ones that I saw online were of exhibitions that have been done. And I was surprised that, you know, I think I forgot how many exhibitions happened in a year, but I was surprised that there weren't more videos and that there wasn't a direct link. And even you guys included the history on your webpage, which I thought was great because when we were doing research for our project, I thought it was, the only way I actually kind of learned about the gallery was through what Josh posted on our WebCT. And that was the easiest source for me. And I was like, you know, it would have been nice if even with all of the current roles, the current staff members, I was surprised, like, I had to kind of do a general search of what positions are at a museum, whereas on the website, I kind of hoped that under everyone's name, under every staff member's name, it kind of told me what they did and their history of the gallery. So I just thought I'd add to what you guys did. I really liked it.
Thanks so much. I mean, I really appreciate that. One of the things we just tried to say right off the bat is, I mean, again, diversity and the voices that we have. It's not just isolated statements. I mean, we've got individuals here sort of from all walks of life and all sorts of different interactions with the gallery, with the community. We even had sort of a background on Ron Benner as well. I mean, if we go to any one of the pages here, I mean, history, for example, I mean, tried to capture as much as we could about different aspects. And so I think that kind of diversity, and maybe not just shorter passages, I mean, I think people have the interest in going to it. Hey, Meredith.
You guys mentioned that you want to put art in different buildings around campus, and I don't want to be like picking on something you said, but you said cater to students who are in those buildings, so in IB, engineering, math or sciences, something like that. How would you decide what caters to those students? Because students are so diverse and have so many different interests. So how would you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I feel like as opposed to the gallery just saying, here's the artwork we have given you, enjoy them for 2 months and we'll see you when we pick them up. It can be a real project in the sense that we go and talk to the coordinators, build those relationships. What do you want to see? Are IB people stick up these glass walls and want to see color now, or what's the case? And I don't know, especially with history or buildings that actually have where paintings of history can actually be put forward. Some groundwork would have to be, established, and that's by curating a unique collection, but actually be building the relationship with the students there, making a real contact and saying, what do you want? So we want to make this art brighten your day, enhance the building. It would totally be a interactive process in which both sides are equally contributing to what art would actually benefit the space.
And to add that, you mentioned cater to these specific faculties. I don't think that's something art is necessarily supposed to do. Because if you're trying to impose a specific field of art or a specific genre of art on a specific faculty, it kind of destroys the interpretation or the straight interpretation saying that, or demographing that IB kids would prefer this specific piece of art, or the science kid would prefer this specific art. What we're trying to do is just create and place art in general, and just allow this free interpretation without any connotation.
I'm just curious, and this is fairly open-ended, but I was really intrigued by the fact that you talked about having an interactive evening with programming that might be in simultaneity with something like the big concerts and some of the kind of like more party-focused events. And I found that really nice because one of the pieces of feedback that I get a lot from my students is that, you know, I don't get a lot of people coming into my office saying, you know, like, oh, I'm over, I was like partying. Like, these are folks that have like, if they want to go out to something, it's not so that they want to have a night to remember, rather than just kind of the same home, like go to a bar, go home at 2, shower to bed type thing. So I was wondering if you could say a little bit more about how you would present that, or some of the ideas you might have, even if they're vague, about how you could compete or change people's minds about how going out, like going downtown to Richmond Row being the only way you can spend a cool night, especially given that it's something that's close on campus.
Mary?
Yeah, so that was a nice question, and that actually pertains specifically to orientation week. And there's already, McIntosh Gallery already does an independent orientation event. So basically to have an event at orientation week, you need to apply and have your event approved by orientation planning committee. It's this big process, but then once you have this event, it would be student run, so it would be run by probably the Arts and Humanities soft team in this case. So they would propose this event, and it would be part of their programming, and it would be in partnership with the McIntosh Gallery. And basically, so they would run it, and it would be an alternative programming to the dances and the cafes that are going on, and there's also mini concerts and big concerts going on. And so it would basically just be a chance to sort of build that partnership with that soft team throughout orientation week and be able to reach about 6,000 first-year students and their 800 upper-year mentors. And then once that partnership is started, then as Alex mentioned, the Arts and Humanities soft team would be happy to promote an exhibition opening to get as many first-years there as they could, and to also bring their own soft team. And so they're on board for that. They want to partner with you if you want to reach out to them. The head soft team is Happy Abby. And yeah, so it's basically a starting point. And then if events like that would be run throughout the year, that would be great. But yeah, so this would be a starting point.
Yeah, I love that idea of building a relationship, because I know one of the really successful Arts and Humanities events has been a blind date with a book, and that it was like a huge success. And the idea that your like first date with Western could be at something spiky like an art gallery, and that's kind of the start of your relationship with the gallery. I know that's maybe an extended metaphor, but the idea that you have that kind of first step, that everyone's kind of nervous and getting together, and that's one of the first things that they get to do on campus is cool. I love that idea. So
it's a great initial way to be introduced to Western, and not just Western, but culture at Western, and to kind of, in a way, also think, oh, my orientation week was filled with art. It wasn't necessarily filled with, you know, getting drunk at the dance, and it was filled with something more meaningful. So it's something that we definitely cater to a specific audience, but an audience that we know exists from surveys we've done of orientation.
fantastic.
Josh?
I have a question for you guys. One of the things that I find interesting across all of the presentations is the interesting tension, but also ability to latch on between what we call criticism and curation. And criticism is something I think that we did more of in our class, and curation, which I find really fascinating, is all of you guys that put yourselves in a role of, I remember when Diana brought up the word curation in the class, it was intimidating like the doors to some of you guys in terms of thinking about what a curator does. But what I've realized while I've been watching presentations is just how curatorial you all are in terms of being able to be the architect of your own experience. And I'm wondering, going through this process, this is an open question to you, did you feel more empowered in terms of being an organizer of culture as you went through, as you organized, as you looked at the background? Did it feel intimidating by the end? If you were to do a project like this again, would you feel comfortable to approach something like a gallery, approach something of an arts institution?
Why don't we all take a quick stab at this, but I'm happy to go first. I mean, I think what was interesting about our group was, again, really trying to emphasize this aspect of diversity and sort of what all our different voices say. And also, I mean, not just our group, I mean, again, all these wonderful people we had a chance to talk to. We all kind of took a little bit of a hand in the editing process, or I guess the curating process. We all had sort of iterative feedback loops set up with the way that we crafted this website, to the presentation, to the videos. it was something we tried to put a lot of thought and also, again, curation and collaboration into. And I mean, going forward, I mean, that's something that I think is so valuable. Again, you're right. I mean, in our class, often criticism of great classics, but I think part of the beauty of maybe the humanities and what we've tried to do in this course is to bridge that ability as a student to potentially criticize and ultimately to curate. And I think it's a skill and it's a vocation. I think it's a great learning opportunity too. So stuff like this, I mean, stuff like we had the chance to do with our group, it really is such a great experience. And so, I don't know, I mean, maybe it's with the gallery, there's many curation opportunities for students. Maybe you customize your own experience with this app or, you know, with a virtual gallery online. I mean, there's so many opportunities, and I completely agree. I mean, just that distinction you made right there, it's so clear and vivid just how powerful that can be. And I think in our own way, we each did that as a group member. It was cool. It's a great experience.
I kind of liked how it was actually, well, it's called a case study in the assignment, and I'm in a business course right now where it's all case method, and so it was truly a business case to tackle. And you open the presentation by saying, we want to have arts and humanities students to be challenged and to not just think, you know, what did the book say, what did this, but what is an actual case for arts and humanities students need critical thinking skills and to actually, like, one of the key links we were discussing today in the presentation was the artwork. When I said to James Patten, the artwork for the exhibitions is already laid out for so many years. We have all that down planned. So we weren't going to suggest what artwork to be seen because that's not kind of our authority. But what is important is you can't get those artworks to actually be shown and shared if people don't come up. And so it is a business in a sense. Like arts and humanities is well, not like a technical business, but you do need critical business thinking skills in order to make art leadership or to actually give it that role of leadership. So I think that's something we found like it is kind of a business case. Like we are kind of like, we're not crunching numbers, but like what's the market, who's the target audience, and so what are the implications? That's been something I found cool.
And as you mentioned, you talked about diversity in all these different aspects of our members, and I'm going to have to contradict what you said in terms of my personal experience, where it's not necessarily a business, but more of a mentor and curator role, where you are speaking from a leadership position. Because we're thinking about leadership and culture. We always have one instigator who always has this idea or vision of what they like or what they don't like in culture. So for example, if we're looking through all these different opportunities presented to us within this class, like the Biofusion Lab or Ron Bennett, which was an excellent experience, they were passed down by one leader, by Josh. But if we think about what our role as leaders are and curators and mentors, we need to experience things at Western and culture to begin with and be able to pass them off as mentors, as curators, maybe not in the business sense, but in the positive experience sense that we felt and shared this connection with art, and we just want to share it. Because the whole premise of our case study in one aspect was we saw something we liked and we wanted to share it with every continuing undergrad faculty or anyone who was willing to. But that's the main choice, or the main option, is everyone, especially undergrads, whether they want to go to the Mac Gallery or they want to party, is they have this choice to see art. And that's the one thing that really empowers a lot of students is if they don't have that opportunity or they don't have that leader to tell them, this is okay, this is something that you might be willing to see, then I think that's where the curator role comes in and less of the criticism. We criticize it, we like it. Now let's curate the fact that we want to have this experience shared with other people.
Yes?
It's a great place to
Great, thank you so much, everyone.
We will let our judges adjudicate as to what they believe to be, and of course, we're going to come up with somebody who we feel is an outstanding presentation, but the idea isn't necessarily to create a competitive link between the three cases. What I found so compelling was in the videos that you guys put together was how interesting it was that everybody came from a different angle as to where McIntosh was. Someone said, oh yeah, that's by social science. Another person said, oh yeah, that's by physics geology or physics astronomy. Another person said it's from that's near natural science. And you can see just how interesting the vectors are of where McIntosh and where people come from. Oh yeah, it's just out over here. And that even that orientation of people on campus is so compelling. The other thing that really stuck out to me is that, and the question I just asked the final group, is the fact that you guys, when we brought up the word curator, everybody kind of had this frozen look a little bit. And what I saw tonight was just how compelling it is to curate culture. At a time when leadership at Western is such a hot topic, it's very, very refreshing and heartwarming and affirmative to see that not only is leadership something that we associate with hierarchy, we can see just how compelling your leadership is to go out into the community, take on something that is totally unfamiliar to all of you. Even if you've been in McIntosh, this was something completely new to you, was to go into a gallery and in 3 months try and come up with a compelling presentation of what you would not only, what you can understand about it, but also where you take it forward. And I thought that was wonderful. The other thing that I found so fascinating was just how compelling you guys were in terms of mobilizing social media. Another topic in our culture right now that has, from the medical sciences side, been a hot topic, and you generated a way to make an affirmative and positive experience and take those platforms and pull them in and yoke them together to make something really, really compelling. And I liked both Alex and Peter's answer to the question of how the curatorial, and Jackson's answer as well, in terms of thinking about how, and I was thinking of the opposition between the two, but that's wonderful, because that right there is you're looking at both the critical aspect and the curatorial by having that debate between the two of you of how you understand curation. That is wonderful, because that's exactly the critical thinking that we're thinking of. As I said at the very beginning, this has been an absolutely wonderful experience to teach this course. I couldn't have asked for a better class, and I love the presentations. You guys were so game. I love the red doors when I came in. I love the artwork when we came in. The videos, you can just see by the energy that you guys brought to this presentation. That's exactly what we wanted to do. And it makes the process of when you're drafting a syllabus in the dead of the summer and you're in a poorly air-conditioned room and you're thinking, what's going to be interesting for these guys to read, to do, and to see it come alive and to see you guys activate the ideas that we were trying to come up with. It's really compelling, and it, as I said, warms my heart to see just how amazing you guys were, and coming from so many different disciplines as well, to see that experience of how art can remake the world, how you can look at how your university experience is. Western prides itself on the student experience, and what I saw tonight was not just coming into Western and having a passive experience of the student experience, but activating it and taking control of it and saying, okay, how would we use art? How could I curate my own student experience at Western? I think that was what I took away from today, is just how compelling it is to allow you guys to curate what it is that you do and put art at the center of that. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm grateful for all the Monday nights, and I'm grateful for your energy tonight.
I got the honor of presenting the honors. You saw me up on screen. It was terrifying. My name is Milde. I'm the Dean of Arts and Humanities. And I would like to, first of all, congratulate all of you for an outstanding job. 4 judges were called out here on Monday night, end of the day, and we loved it. Right? We loved every minute of it. Your passion, your engagement with the subject really thrilled us and moved us to think about the McIntosh in a whole bunch of different ways. As you saw, I spent my time scribbling away. Every group had innovative ideas, something I've already confessed, A, I'm a culture nerd, B, I've been to the McIntosh hundreds of times, and I found new and exciting things to think about, or new exciting ways to think about the McIntosh. So your creativity, your engagement, your ability to read what it is that's required of you, I was also impressed with that, right? There was things you had to cover, every group covered that. Each group covered them in separate ways, or different ways, and each of you, brought something to the table. Now, one question I have to ask, being the university, how many people are not in arts and humanities? Okay, you now have honorary citizenship in arts and humanities. Congratulations, you've shown that you've got that creative spark, that way of thinking outside of the box, which really is the hallmark of my people. And so good for you. And what makes also obvious, I think, is that these are things that we share. So the interdisciplinarity that many of you talked about is you're living it. So congratulations on that. So, unfortunately, we have to have one winner who gets bragging rights. And now you have a different group numbers than the judges had.
Yeah, you could say the order that they picked.
So the judges, after conferring and comparing notes and all that, decided that the group that went second is the group that we've identified. So congratulations.